Hey, Amina. Oh, this light too bright. Hello, 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 hello. Did I lose people? Is it still showing? No, it's still showing. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. Let me see. Hello, 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 hello. Well, I can't read the comments. I hope everybody's having a fabulous day despite this ugly weather. Hey, Chantel. Wait. Think we got Alicia back tonight. Alicia.
Yo, where your little friends at?
I don't know if they're going to join us tonight or not.
I'm gone as soon as I get on here.
Don't be like that. Don't be like that. Oh, he might have to work tonight.
Please,
Huh?
please.
Yeah. I was trying to see. Trying to get to something right here. I don't know. For some reason, I can't see all my chats. So if y'all sending me, well, I can see them on the screen, but when I try to reply back on my phone, did it snow bad up there, Alicia?
When today?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh, okay, cool. It did down here. For real.
Mm.
I don't know why she calling me. I'm on live. All right, we're going to get started here. I got people trying to call me. All right, so let's get started. Even though we only got a couple people, that's okay. She ain't texting me back now. Alrighty, so tonight I just wanted to jump on and talk about the topic for tonight is accountability, the conversation most people avoid. Okay. So let's be honest tonight. A lot of people say they want healing and growth and healthy relationships, but very few actually want accountability. Because accountability asks us to look in the mirror, not just point fingers. It asks, where did I contribute? What did I need to change? And who am I becoming through this? So tonight isn't about blame. It's about ownership, maturity, and emotional growth. So if you're ready for a real conversation, not just a comfortable one, you're in the right space. So, good evening. Everybody knows me, but I'm Jacquees. Welcome to Rooted Conversations. Tonight, we're going to talk about accountability in ourselves and in relationships, in growth and in healing. But before we begin, I want to set the tone. This is a respectful space. Different perspectives are welcome, but disrespect, interruptions, or personal attacks are not. So, for those joining on camera tonight, I'll be guiding the flow of the conversation. I may pause or redirect so we stay aligned and allow multiple voices to be heard. So, before we go any deeper, I want to take a brief moment to honor Black History Month. One powerful truth about our history is that accountability has always been a part of Black leadership and progression. Does anyone know of the civil rights leader named Fannie Lou Hamer? And you can just jot down in a chat. If you know her, at least you know who Fannie Lou Hamer is. So she was an American civil rights leader, voting rights organizer, and co-founder of the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. Rising from a background of poverty in the Jim Crow South, she became one of the most influential voices of the 1960s civil rights movement, known for her courage, faith, and uncompromising demand for equality. So, in the words of Fannie Lou Hamer, she once said, "Nobody's free until everybody's free." That wasn't just about justice, it was about collective accountability. She held systems accountable while also challenging communities to stay rooted in purpose despite adversity. And tonight we will talk about conversations about accountability. We're not just talking about relationships, we're talking about growth, responsibility, and the courage to evolve. And that's the spirit we're bringing in tonight's conversation. So, in the beginning segment, accountability is not punishment, it's awareness plus ownership. It sounds like I could have handled that better. I see where I contributed. I'm willing to grow. So, if you can drop in the chat, what does accountability mean to you? For those who want to actually join in, I can drop the link and you can join me on the stage. So, what does accountability mean to you? So accountability to me means owning up to what you have did. Maybe if you said something that was not in the most respectful manner, or if you did harm to someone, showing up and being that bigger person and saying I'm sorry and kind of holding yourself accountable, um, is what accountability is about. Not coming in anger, um, but actually just sitting in your truth. It's sitting in your truth, um, and taking accountability or ownership for whatever you've done to whoever it may be. So, is accountability attractive or intimidating? Accountability can be very intimidating to people who actually don't want to be held accountable. Hey, Wes. So, you can just chime in the chat, but what does accountability mean to you? I said to me, it means owning up to something that you maybe did or said to somebody, whether it was something negative in a relationship, somebody at work. But I don't think accountability attractive or intimidating. I feel like it could be attractive. Hey, Tanisha. It depends on what gender. It shouldn't matter the gender. If you accountable, you accountable. Whether you female, male, accountability is accountability. So are you trying to say that females aren't accountable? Is that what you're trying to say, Wes? I dropped the link in the chat too if anybody wants to join me on the stage. So are you trying to say females or males not accountable? I'm all up on the camera so I can see the comments. In most cases, y'all see what he said? In most cases, accountability is not a woman's strong point. You is trying to start a fight tonight. How many women agree with him? In most cases, women aren't accountable. You looking for a fight. Fight. I think some women are accountable. Maybe not all, but I also know there's a fair share of men who ain't accountable too. Oh, okay. The truth is ugly sometimes. It is. It is. That's why I mentioned in the thing when I was talking about accountability, is it attractive or intimidating? I guess it could be ugly too, especially if you don't want to hold yourself accountable. The truth is ugly sometimes, but I feel like dealing with it also makes it better too. It could be an ugly thing, but it also could be a beautiful thing if all parties involved hold themselves accountable for whatever actions those were. Oh, okay. Wes, you got that link from Tanisha? If you want to join the stage, I don't know if she sent it to you in Messenger or not. Anybody who wants to join the stage tonight, look in the chat and I'll put a link in the chat so that you can join and talk on stage. I know if y'all see my head go up, I'm trying to read comments because it's kind of hard to see the comments from my side. So, have you ever had to hold yourself accountable for something difficult? That's something that wasn't easy for you to do. Yes, you did. Tanisha said, okay, what was Tanisha? I agree in some of my friend groups. Yeah, we have a lot of people. I know of people won't hold themselves accountable just because they're embarrassed. In a bad location at the moment. Oh, okay. So he can't get on just now. But I agree with that too. That some people, it's just difficult for some people to hold themselves accountable. Maybe they never had to. Maybe it's just been a hard thing. I don't know. When I was young, I just tried to learn to be more accountable for my actions. So, why do you think people avoid accountability? Accountability challenges egos. Some people avoid it because pride feels safer than vulnerability. Social media rewards being right, not reflective, and trauma can make correction feel like rejection. Yeah, that's true. As adults, we must be accountable, but it's some people that don't. And I feel like some of those people are kind of not accountable by like what I just said. They prideful. They feel that it's just safer to stick with pride than being vulnerable. Some people, especially if they looking into social media rewards, they'll rather just seem like they right rather than be reflective of their truth. And then trauma can also make correction feel like rejection, especially if you never had nobody ever hold you accountable for your actions. Some people can take that as a weakness instead of a strength. So, accountability is attractive to people who are emotionally mature and uncomfortable for people committed to avoidance. Have you ever felt attacked when someone asked for accountability? Has anyone ever felt attacked when someone asked them to be accountable for their actions to them? And then, how do you tell the difference between correction and disrespect? I think that's a huge one. Correction and disrespect. Because some people think that if somebody's trying to correct them, that being disrespectful to them, maybe they feel like they ain't the person that should be telling them they feel like they ain't the person that should be telling them how they supposed to act, especially if they don't put a real value into the people that's correcting them, right? They may feel like their advice is flawed. Yeah, that's true. So Wes said it's not what you say, but how you say it. That can go a long way. Definitely, most definitely. I know when I was younger in my childhood years, sometimes the way my mom came off, I just wasn't able to digest what she was saying to me the right way because it was just the way she said it. I felt like she was being nasty about it and negative. Hey, Tanisha. Yeah.
I'm at work, so it's a little rough.
Okay. What's the perfect example? Yeah, it's not how you say it, but the way you say it is definitely a big one. So how do you tell the difference between correction and disrespect? Like, is it the tone that they use when they say it? Is it specifically what they said? I guess it would depend on the person who is coming from. It's different ways that
I
that
think
can
one
come.
way would be correcting somebody in public versus private. I think doing it publicly can be a sign of disrespect. Like I ain't have to front on you in front of other people when I could have pulled you to the side or waited till later to address however I felt about what you did or what you said.
Correct, especially if it's a kind of like tender topic too, and you like it's like you fronting them off in front of people. That can be a hard way for people. Wes said tone, definitely tone, depending on how a person say it. Most definitely. Hey, Malik. And so Malik also said, he said, I agree, accountability can't be hard for some from pride or embarrassment. Believe the best thing moving forward is self acknowledgement and moving forward every day to actually work on being better. If you understand you may have shortcomings in that area, but self acknowledgement is the start of the solution. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, you said delivery. Definitely delivery. Delivery is probably like almost number one on the list because people, depending on how you say it, is kind of how reflective of what that answer gonna be. So I wanted to introduce something I call the Rooted Conversations Accountability Framework. So starting with R, what actually happened, what was my role, O means owning it. I could have responded differently. O, observe growth. Are my behaviors changing? But also seeing if the person that you're trying to hold accountable, if their behaviors are changing, because everybody not perfect. And so they may be changing, they may just not be changing as fast as you may want them to be. And then T for transform, awareness becomes maturity. So, which part is hardest for you? Reflection, owning it, observing it, or the transformation after you've become aware in your accountability? Which one would you say would be the toughest for you? Wes, what you think? I think for me personally, the part that's the hardest is probably I don't have a problem owning it. I don't have a problem changing once I know that I'm the person that is in the wrong and need to be accountable. But I think sometimes maybe reflecting on it because it's like once you reflect on it and it sit with you, you kind of realize like maybe the damage that you've done, or even because sometimes we don't observe it. So I don't want to choose observe, but I would say reflective for me, because it will stay with me for a minute, just because I know that I affected somebody and maybe not the most positive way. So Wes said for him, I did it or said it, and he has to stand on it. So is the hardest part to you then, once you standing on it, like to stay in your truth? Is that the hardest part for you, or is that easy? So he said, just don't double down on it. Yeah, because then the accountability goes out the window when a person double down on it. It's like you just saying something to be saying something, not that you really meant what you said. What do you think, Tanisha?
I don't know, because I kind of feel like if you once you said it and then you do all that and you reflect, but then you say, "Well, I'm standing on it." So now, are you standing on it because you don't want to be wrong, or you don't want to say, "I'm sorry"? So you just gonna, you know, stick with what you said. And did you really reflect on that and think that that was okay?
Or
Is
did
that
you
why?
reflect, or did you say okay just so that moment could pass, kind of? So
Right. Well,
like,
since I said it, once it came with my mouth, or you did whatever, are you just standing on that because you don't want to? You don't want to change. You don't want to acknowledge your wrong. Because if you reflect on it and you're like, yeah, I did say that, but I can't stand on it now because I understand how that made you feel, or I understand where I was wrong, then, so yeah, I said it, but I double back on that and feel like I was wrong in that moment, or I was wrong to say that, or I was wrong to do that. But if my attitude is just going to be, I said it, so now I'm standing on it, then is that being accountable?
to be faking the accountability. And when I say faking, meaning that like kind of like you said, like they'll be like, okay, I'm accountable, I did this, but they actions don't show nothing lining up with them really taking accountability. It's like, and then if you call them out on it, they'll be like, well, I said I was, what else you want from me? And it's like, but I also don't see changed behaviors either. So you're not really being accountable. And then West also said, I had to come back days later and apologize. Yeah. Yeah, we've been there. I've been there too. And it's okay. I mean, for me, what I started noticing when I would do that is that it actually made me feel better. Because it's like I'm not holding on to that resentment anymore. I'm not holding on to like the accountability part of it, because once I made my peace with that person and it's hashed out, then I'm happy about it. I'm trying to see, watch messages. Sorry, y'all. So, when did accountability change in your perspective? Like, just think about us as kids and in high school and when we grew up. Like, when do y'all think accountability changed from your perspective? Like, as a kid, were you as accountable as you are today as an adult, or were you more, do you feel like you're more accountable now, or as a kid do you feel like, or as a teen, adulthood? So what's that adulthood? What about you, Tanisha? I can't hear you.
I was muted. Yeah, I don't know, because I'm trying to think real hard on that. Like, what did I have to be accountable for as a kid?
Or like
I-
teenager, you know, like as a teenager, because I feel like I kind of probably did some crazy stuff in my teenage years, but as I got older and I started growing up more and started being more reflective of like my actions or how I treated somebody, or if I could have said something to somebody that hurt their feelings, then I started kind of being a little bit more holding myself accountable and kind of like holding my tongue. I think that's the big one for me, is like because I was very like, don't argue with me, I'm gonna win the argument. And so sometimes I'm so trying to win that argument, you know what I mean? Like I'm not really being accountable, or I'm like just holding people to the fire or whatever. And so kind of like I think as I got older, I kind of started giving people more benefit of the doubt and like kind of letting people at least get out they say before I just like go in.
And I think that comes with like, so as being younger, well, I got feedback. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. I can hear you.
Okay.
It don't sound bad.
So I think when you get older, your accountability, you have more personal relationships where you have to be held accountable for other people's feelings, and even maybe not personal relationships like boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever, but even like work relationships. Whereas a kid, you kind of don't really have that. You're more responsible for stuff like, if I don't clean my room, my mama gonna hold me accountable, like I'm gonna be punished. That kind of accountability. But when you're dealing with people feelings and like letting them get something out, I think those relationships develop as you get older.
Yeah. And then Wes said, I say that because who's gonna hold your feet to the fire? Well, it comes down to if you know better, then you do better. Of course. Of course. But some people know better and still don't do better. And I wonder, is that so much of a pride thing? Because like like when I think of the turning point, because my next question was gonna be, what was a turning point where you had to own something difficult? I think for me, it was just like once I did have that turning point moment where I had to hold myself accountable, it's like I crossed a new bridge. Like it was never going back for me because I felt so relieved just from like kind of holding that in, that I didn't mind holding myself accountable anymore, you know, after that or whatever. Like it was like kind of like a liberating moment for me. I don't know. But I know of people that is still like they older, they in their 50s, half mid 50s, and they still can't hold themselves accountable. And it's crazy to me. Like we grown, what are you hiding from? But I guess everybody have their own time and term and when they come into that type of adulthood or peace. So I don't know. So accountability in relationships. So healthy relationships require mutual accountability, not scorekeeping. An apology without change is manipulation. I feel like that. What does accountability look like in love? Like when you're in love with somebody, what does accountability look like? True. You right, Wes. I'm just seeing your comment. He said everybody that is grown has not that comment needs to stay on the screen. Everybody that has not grown, that everybody that is grown is not grown. Oh my God. For sure. For sure they not. But what does accountability look like in love to y'all? Like Wes or Tanisha?
So I say when people, I got feedback. I'm at work, my radio. But I say when people tell you, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. For me, when I'm in a relationship and if I love, like I try not to do the things to you to have to say I don't want to have to tell you I'm sorry. So I make a conscious effort not to do certain things so that I won't have to say I'm sorry.
True. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't do that. I was trying to see. Yeah, a lot of people don't do that. They don't hold themselves accountable at all.
I will say it if I need to, but I try real hard not to do things that it could be little things, it could be big things. But if I know that you don't like for me not to get home and not call and say, hey, I made it home safe after I've been there, Now I'm not used to doing that because I'm used to doing me. But if that's a thing for you and I know it's a thing for you, then I should try,
So why? And I'm not trying to pick on men, Wes, so you won't think I'm trying to pick on men. But why do you think, even for females, I'm not just gonna say males, I'm gonna say females too. Why do you think it's so hard for people to show up in their relationships and show accountability? Wes said communication can go a long way in a relationship. It does. I feel like that's like the bulk of the issues in relationships. And what's so crazy is, I don't know if y'all had this same thing, but in school, especially when I went to college, and I was like, why do we have to take a communications class? Like, I felt like that was the dumbest class. I'm like, why do we have to go on in front of people and have speeches or whatever? But that was like the most important class that I could have ever taken in my life. But at the time, I didn't think so. But because people communicate in so many different ways, and people get offended by so many different things, and then you could think you being accountable sometimes to some people, but depending on how that person interpret information, they may feel like you still not showing up for them. And so it's kind of difficult, especially I just feel like if it's not your person, you're gonna really know right away, because I feel like if it's your person, communication shouldn't be that difficult. Like, you might have some times when y'all don't get along, but when it's to the point where it's like almost everything you doing is like an issue or something, then I feel like things need to be reevaluated. Oh, and then yeah. So he also said, excuse me, y'all, my voice going out. He also said most people hold things in. Nothing beats a good understanding between two people. Yeah, and I feel like people do be holding sideways grudges, like they don't tell kind of what still how they feeling. They kind of just they'll say it's over, but it's really not. Have you ever apologized but didn't truly change in y'all relationship? Has there ever been a time where you've apologized but didn't truly change?
Well, apologizing is really not saying you're going to change, though. You know what I mean?
True.
Like, okay, I apologize, but I never said that I was going to change, or that never was my intention. So my apology could have been like, I'm sorry you felt that way, but not I'm sorry that I did that, or you know.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. Yeah, Wes said true. I see that. That could very much be so.
So maybe when you get your apology, you need to make sure you say, "What are you apologizing to me for?" Because you know that might not be communicated.
Correct. And then what did Wes say? I've been sorry I got caught.
That's my point. You see, now I'm sorry I cheated.
Oh, that is so. At least you admit it. I'm glad you being honest, because it'll be some men on here that would not be honest about that for real. That is a big one. Most definitely. And then
That's why I fool with him.
he keeping it A1. So how do you hold someone accountable without becoming controlling? Because I think oftentimes us as women, for real, when we want, especially if it's somebody we in a relationship with, when we want them to be accountable, like it sometimes can get to a point where we do, it's like we controlling them, like they every move or every interaction or whatever, instead of just letting them kind of be who they be. Do you ever feel like you was controlling with somebody that you wanted to be accountable? I'm trying to read what Wes saying on here.
That's a hard one, Jacqueline.
Alicia, you back to the stage. So you kind of missed out a lot. We're talking about accountability, but right now, the question that I asked everybody was, how do you hold somebody accountable without being controlling? Like, have you ever felt like when you was trying to hold somebody accountable, whether it was in a relationship, whatever type of relationship, whether it was personal, work, have you felt like you've been controlling with it? So Wes commented, he said, no, but I wish they had a different mindset. So if they didn't have the same mindset that you had, did you beat them up about it, or did you just let them be? What's up, Charles? Can y'all see when I pin the comments on the screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, okay. What's up, Charles? Tonight we talking about accountability. If you got a minute, spend with us. So, how do you hold someone accountable without becoming controlling? How do you think you can like hold them accountable without like making them? Oh, see, Charles ain't right. He gonna look what his comment. He gonna say beat they ass. That's what we did when we was little.
Well, it's an answer.
It is an answer. I feel like people from home, that's our resolution. Is like with them hands.
But I guess it
Oh,
depends on the violation though. So if I'm gonna hold you accountable, for me to hold you accountable, I have to be in control of something that you will want. Or there's no way for me to hold you accountable. I can't do it.
so Wes said compromise is the key. I think it depends on what you compromising with.
Right, because if we compromise it, then I'm not holding you accountable. I'm sort of giving in.
Yeah. Somewhat. So then I'm going to shift the conversation a little bit from accountability versus blame. So blame says you're the problem. Accountability says let's understand what happened. So have you ever taken responsibility for something that wasn't yours?
I need an example, please.
Have you ever taken accountability? So say you're in a relationship and you know your partner, like, you know that they sorry, but they just mean and surly, and they just not gonna give. Have you just taken responsibility for it just to like end the argument or just like try to get past that moment, or do you still try to hold them accountable? Huh? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I have given passes like that, but I don't necessarily think that was the best thing. Hindsight is 2020, and so maybe I should not have done that because that monster resurfaced. It keeps resurfacing.
See, yes, it keep coming back. Charles said, "Yeah, to keep the peace." But are you really keeping the peace though? Like, are you internalizing that and maybe holding that little bit of judgment against them for the next argument or whatever comes up? Or do you actually really, really let it go to keep the peace? I feel like in those situations, men probably are better than us because I'm keeping that in my pocket. Sorry. Especially if you do it again. If you do it again, yeah. Sorry. I'm gonna pull that right on out. What are you talking about, Wes? He talking about, yeah, rubber in my car.
But both of them, Charles and Wes, they both married, so they should have some good insight on how to hold stuff together.
Yeah, Charles can give us some tips. So, how do you balance accountability with protecting your peace? And that's kind of what I was meaning. Like, you're not really accountable, but like Charles said, you just, try to keep the peace. But how do you do that? I don't know. I feel like that's something that I really want to master, how men do it, because I feel like they do it way more than us females, like for real, for real. And it's
So
just like,
would some of it be a choice though? Like, how big is this monster? Like, is it something that disturbed you a little bit, or is it really a pet peeve that you really need to address? Like, is it something so small that I can get over it and I can let him have that?
I just feel like with men, it's whatever. Like, whatever it is, I feel like some of them just they just be like, what it's whatever. Like they can like let stuff roll off their back so easily. Whereas females, they don't. So Charles said you just gotta let it go. And he said, how you know he married Tanisha? But he said you just gotta let it go. I know, but that's so hard for female. I feel like I ain't gonna say I keep score, but it's hard for me to just let it go, especially if it's something where you hurt my feelings or I feel like I was violated in some type of way, whether it was on a respect level or you know what I'm saying, or you violated me by doing something you ain't had no business doing. Like, ugh, how can I just let that go? So Charles said, you know what? And he probably right about this one. We got to just pick our battles because my brother used to tell me that all the time when we were younger because I used to want to argue my point to my mama all the time and then end up on punishment or something. And he would do crazy stuff and still be free. And I'd be like, and he'd be like, just don't say nothing. You just got to do it or just don't argue back. But it was
That's what
always
I was saying. Like, how serious is it? Is it something that you could get over? Like, is that a battle you really want to fight?
I guess it's picking and choose. I don't know. It depends on what level of the offense, I guess. If it's like if somebody cheated, or is it if you know somebody keep leaving they dirty laundry on the couch every night or something like that. I guess it depends on the level of offense. But I feel like with men, honestly, it don't be mattering what the offense is. They still just let that stuff go. I'm like, how do they just let stuff roll off their back? And then Wes said it just that goes back to accountability. Yeah, but it's like I think sometimes y'all be holding accountability even we won't hold. Like, cause you gotta hold the accountability I feel like to kind of let it go. Like, yeah, whatever, it's a wash. But women, I feel like we more want to revisit the history, especially if it's an offense like cheating, something real serious.
Well, this might shift the conversation a little bit. Well, one of the things and the difference in men and women is it's like how much do they really care? Because we will get so up in arms about it, like wanting to make them change this and wanting to make them change. Well, if we violate them to a point where they don't want to let it go and it can't roll off their back, especially if it's visual, because it could be something that's said or something you heard. They don't care about that. But if they see it, they not trying to put up with it. They not trying. They moving on.
True. And then Wes said, and certain things and people do make them who they are. So basically in a nutshell, you saying if you accepted that person as who they are, then that's kind of how you can just let it roll off your back. What about you, Alicia? I guess if you learned that person, you could just let it go.
I ain't letting nothing go. I'm playing victim every time. I'm holding you accountable to every single last thing you do. And yeah, I'm playing victim.
So
Everything as well as me.
how you gonna hold them accountable and you don't want to be accountable? Now that ain't right.
Oh no, I take responsibility for all my actions, most of them, 95% of them. But yeah, mm-mm. Mm-mm. I'm playing victim. You gonna apologize? You gonna make it right? Or yeah, no, mm-mm.
Wes said, "Cut it out." So, how do you balance that and then protect your peace? Because I feel like holding a grudge, you ain't at peace. Because
Oh, I'm at peace. I hold grudges and I stay at peace. That's why I'm right here next to myself. That's why I'm right here by myself, protecting my peace.
oh my goodness. Wes said, cut it out. What man is accepting that? I guess that's why she says she over there by herself. She in her own peace.
I ain't got to worry about a man accepting it. Exactly.
So accountability, self, I want to turn it a little bit to self accountability and self respect. So accountability also means asking ourselves, why did I ignore that red flag? Why did I abandon my boundaries? So accountability isn't self-punishment, it's about self-honor. So what boundary are you more accountable to now than maybe you were in a past relationship? Wes said you're gonna be the cat lady, Alicia.
I don't like cats. I got a dog.
And Charles said stop playing victim.
Nah.
Oh, so what boundary are you more accountable to now that you kind of like been through some things and like you lived a little bit of life? I feel like I'm more accountable with my actions. Definitely now. I try to really hear people out. Although nowadays it's so many people not being who they are and living in their truth. It's kind of hard because it's a lot of fakers out here. And then what behaviors did you finally stop tolerating, Alicia?
Sweeping stuff under the rug, acting like I ain't see it, acting like it didn't happen. I don't, nah, we calling everything out.
Oh my God. So I'm gonna put, can y'all see, y'all can see the comments. So I'm gonna put Wes comments on the screen. He said that meat will make a woman take a whole bunch of stuff off. And then Charles said, I try to respect how people feel. Yeah. Yeah. I do too. I feel like that's what kind of made me kind of made me be that way too. But behaviors that I stopped tolerating is lying, like Alicia said, lying and acting like you didn't hear it, or you see that red flag and you ignore it because you think they handsome, or you feel like they gonna be able to change because they this good person over here. Or they do like 10 things good, but then they do like 3 things bad, but depending on the level of severity of the bad. So yeah, I kind of stopped tolerating that behavior and just calling a spade a spade. If that's what you are, that's what you are. And I think for the most part for me nowadays, I want people to be who they're gonna be. Like, don't come showing me somebody you think I'm alike, or changing something or being a certain way because you want to date me or you want to have me. Like, I want you to be 100% yourself. because then that let me know what I'm dealing with up front. Ain't no secrets, ain't no who's gonna show up later. I want you to be who you are. So Wes said, the older I've gotten, the more better of how a person feel of a person I feel I've become. Yeah, I think that's all of us too. And then Charles said, the good outweigh the bad. True. So is that, Charles, would you say that that's part of that 70-30 rule that we hear about? The good and the bad? Because I mean, I don't know, Tanisha, about you, because you single too, right? You single too, right?
I am.
So do you feel like you put that person against a higher pedestal than what you would want somebody reflect upon yourself? I don't.
No, I don't. But my tolerance level is very low now. So yeah, I don't. I'm holding accountable too. Like I just move on. My tolerance level is very low. Especially once we communicated it. I'm not revisiting that. I'm not beating a dead horse. If we already talked about it, like you said, somebody being not authenticated or not being who they appear to be. But if we talk about it and we set boundaries, and you told me this is what you are, this is how you are, and you go against that red flag, I'll leave it alone. It's not that serious at this point.
So Charles said, if you can't be yourself, you don't need to be with them. And then he said, yes, if you love them. Hey, Michelle. Michelle said, I'm just chiming in, but I just told somebody that first impressions are out the door. Just show me who you are when I meet you. Exactly. Show me who you are up front and personal. Don't show me him 6 months down the line. Because I feel like sometimes some men do certain things to bait the woman in, and then even women do it too. I'm gonna stop saying just men. And then you be like, who is that? Like, that ain't the person I met. Like, why they acting like that? Or why they doing this? And why they doing that? And it's like, because they doing something different. Yeah, so what I was gonna say too, it was a comment one time that was that Nicole Brownie put on her Facebook page, and she said, I think it was something in regards to marriage, but she was saying basically you have to learn to forgive often. And that kind of like sat with me, because I was like, dang, do I really forgive often or do I not? And I'm like, because even though I've kind of like wanted marriage, I'm like, when I think about it, I'm like, forgiving often, like, I don't know if I can forgive often. Like, that take a lot. I mean, and depending on the severity of the incident, like, I don't know. Alicia, what you think? Because I know you over there single too. So do you think you could forgive often? She must have walked away. Michelle, you think you could forgive often? I don't know. Because do you feel like when you forgive, do you feel like you're forgiving a red flag? Or do you feel like you're forgiving for behavior that actually is going to be stopped? Alicia, was you gonna say something?
Yeah, I'm with Tanisha. I ain't. I can't. I can't. We can't repeatedly forgive. My tolerance is very low, so you know my motto: if it ain't right, it got to get left. So I'll let forgiving. Mm-mm.
So Michelle put in the comments, she said, if you keep forgiving, you have allowed that person to create a habit that you are willing to look the other way. I kind of agree with that too.
So
I feel like it depends on the person though. Because if they a person that's always trying to do something and looking to get away with it, yeah, you have created a habit for them because now they see that loophole and they gonna always go through that loophole to do what they want to do. What you think, Alicia? You was about to say something.
that was me, and I was just thinking of, but
Okay.
it's easy to answer that question when you asking me as opposed to somebody that's married. Because if you want to keep your marriage, then that will make sense. You have to continuously forgive. You two different people, you growing in whatever directions, you all constantly gonna be learning each other. So it's bound to be just things if you want to keep a marriage together. But for single people, just to date, like we don't have to do that.
So I don't know if Charles still on here, if he chopped off, but I wanted to ask.
Wes married.
So Wes, would you say forgiving, like forgiving constantly, like what? So what if that person cheat on you in a marriage? You gonna still be able to just like forgive them? Because that's the big thing with women. It's like cheating. You know, like what at what limit is it, even with married people, do you have to stop forgiving to a certain extent? Because it's like, okay, are you gonna keep forgiving for the same offense, or are you just gonna keep forgiving because that's your husband? I can't tell if Charles still on here or not. Cause like I'm like Michelle. If you keep forgiving that person, I feel like you've created a habit with them, regardless if it's your husband, a friend, or whatever. So like that's why I say they say to be married you have to forgive often, but how often? At what point is there a limit to how often? Because if they, especially if they doing the same thing all the time, like at some point I can't keep forgiving you for the same thing. Like now I feel like you like overstepping your boundaries of being accountable because you know that I'ma just forgive you because we married. So in that instance, to me, I'm like I said, I haven't been married, but in that instance, to me, I wouldn't be abandoning my boundaries because you still got to have some type of boundaries in place, whether you in a marriage or not. That's just how I feel. Or that person gonna keep running over you. So, what behaviors did you finally stop tolerating? If you were in a relationship, if it was something like a relationship at work, whatever, like what behavior did you finally stop tolerating? Anybody? I know I could chime in and say that I feel like I've always been like, for people who really know me and like are close to me as a friend, I've always been that person that try to be the peacemaker, because so I could be friends with people, like say this group of friends that don't like this person or this person don't like that person, but I've always tried to be like the mediator, or like the person who try to mediate everything, because I just want to see everybody happy. But I feel like now I started to get to a point where even with stuff at work or whatever, I'm just getting to the point now where I'm just letting stuff be. Like, it's not my battle to fight anymore. And that was kind of a hard thing to do, especially with work. If I see people like doing stuff where I feel like they not being accountable to patients, or um like they just not operating to me in the best way that they should when they're caregiving. And it could be just my personal opinion as well, but I've kind of like stopped trying to be that peacemaker and just letting people be who they gonna be. Um, Even in relationships now, or if I meet somebody, I'm just gonna let that person be who they gonna be. I'm not about to um force anybody to be any kind of way. I want you to be who you gonna be, because then that tells me what I'm gonna do with that situation. So, Alicia, what behaviors did you finally stop tolerating? Or Michelle, did you want to answer?
Wasting my time was one for me. That's one thing I stopped tolerating. If you coming or you not coming, just don't waste my time. I'm not sitting and waiting. I'm not waiting for people.
Mm-hmm.
If I ask you to come do something, I asked you yesterday, and you coming tomorrow, and it's 3, 4 days later. Yeah, don't play with my time. Please respect it.
Yeah. So, for a final reflection, I just wanted to say accountability doesn't shrink you, it refines you. The people who embrace accountability rewrite their stories. So, if you could tell your past self one thing about accountability, what would it be? Oh, so before that, Michelle commented, some of the comments a little delayed. She said, I stopped tolerating positive words. If the action doesn't match, emotions are up and down. For example, a person can keep telling you they love you, but they are not showing it. Yes, ma'am.
Good one, good one, good one.
Ooh, wee.
That's a good one, Michelle.
That's, that show is a good one, because people will tell you anything, literally, literally, just to I don't know. And it's like I be wondering in my head, like, what is the reason? Why do they keep doing that? Like, I'm like, you gotta be like, some gotta be wrong with you. Why do you keep saying stuff that you don't want to follow through with? Like, is it just that you trying to hold on to that person, or like, what are you getting out of the deal, like, from lying? Like, I've just never understood people with that energy like that. Then West said it's good to hear a female's perspective. So if you could tell your past self one thing about accountability, what would it be? I definitely agree with Michelle's comment. Words of affirmation with unmatched energy. I'm not doing it. West said cake and eat it too. Definitely. 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 So accountability doesn't make you weak. It makes you safe. Safe to grow, safe to love, safe to evolve. The people who avoid accountability repeat cycles, but the people who embrace accountability rewrites their stories. Choose growth over ego. So as we continue through Black History Month, let's just remember accountability has always been a part of progress, resilience, and leadership in our history. Growth isn't just personal, it's cultural, it's collective, and it's generational. So if tonight's conversation resonated with you, please like, share, and follow Rooted Conversations. We go live every Friday at 8:30 p.m. for real conversations, real growth, and real reflections. I appreciate everybody who came out tonight. And Michelle gave us a quote, and I'm gonna put it on the screen. She said, "There's a quote out there, hurt me with the truth and not a lie." Woo! That's so real. That's so real. Sharon, yes. We've been on here for a hot second. We were just talking about, I'll stay and chime in a little bit. So we were just talking about accountability and how people don't want to be accountable for their actions. How sometimes we ignore red flags or we abandon our boundaries. So, yeah. It was a good topic tonight. So like I said at the end and close, accountability, it doesn't make you weak. It makes you a safe person. It makes you safe to grow, safe to love, safe to evolve. The people who avoid accountability repeat cycles. I've been there, done that plenty of times in repeating cycles. But the people who embrace accountability rewrite their stories. Choose growth over ego every time. Choose peace over defensiveness. And stay rooted. So, I was saying as Sharon chimed in, we go live every Friday at 8:30. And we just have real conversations, real growth, real reflection. I pick different topics. I also do my podcast every Monday. I post a new episode every Monday and Wednesday and Thursdays. And then we go live on Fridays. I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music is where you can listen. Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate everybody that came out tonight. And until next time, stay accountable to your growth and protect your peace and stay rooted.